So once on board the vehicle, your main control panel is up above the habitation door. So if you're hooked up, you'll get this little icon here which looks like a electricity symbol, which means you are receiving mains 240 volt. If you haven't got that on board, then you just have 12 volt off your leisure battery. And to turn the 12 volt master switch on, you just press this button here. So that turns it off and turns it on. Underneath, you've got your pump, so you can turn your pump on should you have enough water on board. Which to check how much water you've got on board, if you just press the one underneath, you can view there that you've got 50% fresh on board and 0 waste. Press the little house in the middle to go back to the main display panel. Underneath, you've got your battery levels, so you can view your leisure, vehicle, active battery in the middle. You always want the active battery to say leisure. That's because the leisure battery is designed to be the auxiliary battery and power the motorhome. If this ever said vehicle, go into your settings and change this, because it may flatten your engine battery and that's not what you want when you're away in the vehicle. You can view there that the mains current coming in is 4.7 amp and the solar is reading 0.6. The solar panel will always go to sleep when the vehicle's hooked up. Turns itself off because the mains voltage is a lot higher of a voltage than the solar panel could ever provide. Down the right hand side, you've got the master switch for your lights, then they all are individually switched around the van. You've got your awning light on the outside of the vehicle, and you've got your dimmer lights, so you can dim the lights down and you can adjust the dimmer settings in the settings, which is the one underneath. So you can view there, that says active battery select. Active battery select always wants to be on battery L, which is the leisure battery, which is designed to power the motorhome. Once that battery is flat, obviously you can recharge it, but that's the battery that you want to go flat. You don't want to use the engine battery and for that to go flat, because then you simply can't start the vehicle and you'll have to call breakdown to come and start the vehicle. Underneath, you've got your solar battery select, and you have a smart charger on here. So what the smart does is it analyzes both battery levels and it will flick the charge to the battery that needs a top up. So at the minute it's on smart, but you can see that battery V's lit up. So it's putting the solar panel charge to the vehicle battery. Once the vehicle battery goes higher and the leisure battery is a lot lower, it'll switch it over to the leisure battery and vice versa. Tank fill, if you're planning on filling with a pump, you need to turn that on and it'll just send power to that point above the pump, so you can put your submersible into your barrel of water and suck it into the tank on board. And then tank heaters, if it's going to potentially freeze overnight when you're using it in the winter, turn your tank heaters on, and what that'll do is it'll stop the water from freezing. You've got your lighting setting there, so you can set your dimmer settings there and the lights to be switched on with the power button. You can adjust all of those, so the main lights, the awning light, the dimmer lights, you can turn all them on and off to suit your needs. You've got your screen settings there, and you do have the date and time, so you can adjust the time obviously when the clocks go back and forth. And that is your main control panel, and in the top there tells you the external and internal temperature. So to operate the Avtex television, which comes as part of the package with the trackers, either as part of the media pack, which is with a standard TV aerial, or the media pack plus, which comes with a satellite dish. To turn the telly on, you've got a little button just in the bottom corner here, so make sure you press that in and you'll know when it's on because you'll get the standby light. This is a 12 volt telly as well. Using the remote, you'll be able to turn it on and it'll go to blue. And then what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to change the source on it depending on what you're using. So it does have HDMI, it does have a satellite input like I've said, because it's got a built-in satellite tuner on the Avtex televisions, and it does have an aerial point. So Press in here if you go to live TV, which on this one is satellite because this customer has got a satellite on. If not, it could be just standard digital television, depending on what's been ordered on the vehicle. And there you do have your TV. If you ever need to retune the telly, all you need to do is go to the settings, which is the top one here, which is where the cog is. Press it. Go down to the three dots, which says all settings. Click enter. Once you've clicked enter, scroll down to programs, program tuning and settings you want, so press enter again. And you want to search. So you want to do an auto tuning. So depending on what is fitted to the van, like I've said, either satellite or aerial, you'd click which one you want. You'd never have cable, so if it was just a TV aerial, it would be antenna, and if it was satellite, it would be satellite you want to tick, and on this one it is. And press next. Press next. And it'll start and do a search and find as many channels as it can. It'll get halfway very quick and you'll think, oh, it hasn't found anything, like it has there. Once it hits 50%, it starts to tune and the channels will then start to come in. And that's how you tune an Avtex television. In the kitchen area, on the hob you've got one electric hot plate, which is this one here, so it's your far left hand dial on the hob there, and that'll only work when you're hooked up on mains electric, but make sure that you haven't knocked that and then you hook the vehicle up, because it will shatter the glass, because that will get warm. Otherwise you do have gas. So 3 gas. Allow everything to go cool enough to put your hand upon before you put the glass lid down. Otherwise, like I've said, you could shatter the glass hob top. Light for the oven. And you do have your oven there. And then above the oven, you've got your grill. Pushing the centre of this glass panel in, you've got your isolation plug here for your hob electric hot plate, and you've got some storage in here. So you've got a bit of storage in there. Above you've got a microwave, so it's a Russell Hobbs 800 watt mains power microwave, so that's again will only work when you're hooked up. And you've got your main isolation plug for your microwave just up here should you need to isolate it. Cups and plate rack. Freestanding drainer which you can put wherever you want, in your sink, on your bench. Sink cover just comes off, and as long as the pump's on, you get a pressurised flow of water. And as we've had the heating and hot water system on from your Truma control panel, your hot water system is getting up the temperature there and starting to pull through very hot warm water. Two 240 volt sockets there with your light for your kitchen. This light here is for the light above the bed, which is just there. Push the centre, you've got a additional worktop area for when you're prepping or doing dishes. Storage in here, so you've got 2 large storage cupboards. And then underneath you do have your pull-out cutlery tray. To get this down, you just want to lift the levers off the worktop and push it back into place, and when it clicks into place, it is in position. So to operate this type of Thetford fridge, which is a slimline, tall fridge freezer, the freezer box on the top there. Your control panel's all at the top, so you press and hold the black button here on the left hand side. Press and hold and you can turn it off. Press and hold and you can turn it back on. If you press the square button here, it'll tell you which energy source you're running on and what the temperature of the fridge is at. But you'll notice there that the A stays lit up, and the A stands for automatic energy selection. So it picks the best source available to the motorhome out at any one time, and it will always prioritise mains electric over gas every time. So if I press now, you'll notice the little picture of the plug is lit up as well. And what that is it means your fridge is acting like a household fridge. It's working on mains power. If I was to take it out and turn the gas on, which it's turned on, it would switch over to gas and self-ignite by itself because it's picked another source because it doesn't have mains available to the vehicle. Or if I was to start the vehicle's engine, you'll get a feed from the alternator of a 12-volt feed, which is connected to the fridge. So it doesn't work off the leisure battery on 12 volt, it works off the engine when the engine's running, and that's designed to keep the temperature of the fridge the same when travelling, but it's got to be pre-chilled beforehand. So if you're lucky enough to keep this at home, hook it up a few days beforehand. Not only will this allow the leisure battery to charge, but it'll also allow you to put your fridge on. The day before, put your shopping in and allow that to chill overnight. Once you've done that, if it's on automatic, all you need to do is start the engine, disconnect it from hookup at home and drive off until you either go back to your site and hook the vehicle back up, or you go wild camping and you're using your gas. Note that it does wait 20 minutes before lighting on gas, and this is a safety feature in case you forgot to turn your bottles off and isolate your gas supply and you did pull into a petrol station to fill up with diesel. The last thing you want is it sparking where there's fumes of petrol. So it does wait 20 minutes before lighting on gas, so it will fail, it will flash. There's nothing wrong with your fridge, it's just designed to wait 20 minutes. If that was the case, you just press the square button here and manually change the source to gas by itself. Press enter, select your temperature there, 5 when pre-chilling. When you put your shopping in, just turn it down 1 or 2, just so it doesn't freeze your shopping. But in the summer, you may have to use it on 5, especially in the heat that we've just had. So it performs well, the fridge, and it keeps your shopping nice and fresh. When you're not using it, little clip here, little blue clip on the hinge there, put that into the middle and rest the door upon it. Don't shut the door with any force. It just allows the air to circulate in and out of the fridge and stop smells and mold from forming in there. So on this model, you've got a electric drop down bed. So the max load for this is 200 kilograms and it's all controlled through this switch here. So first of all, turn your key on if you've isolated it from the kids playing around with the switches. Put the key in, turn it on, press and hold, and you can bring the bed down. But you will need to just remove your headrests if you've got the half dinette option, like this vehicle. And it'll stop. And then take the bungee cord off, because all this does is it pulls the fabric in and stops it from getting caught in the mechanism of the drop down bed. So you want to take this off. You've got a light up there with a switch. You've got a ladder, which is a folding ladder, which goes on here, so it just clips on and you can gain access in and out of the bed. And you do have safety nets both sides, which clip onto these and on the roof, so there's a clip just to stop the little ones from rolling out the bed if you're putting kids up here. Making sure that you take your pillows off, you don't put any too thick mattress toppers on, because what it'll do is if it does blow the fuse, all it's doing is you've put too much weight on there and it's detecting that someone's on there. So if it blows the fuse, underneath you've got 2 resettable fuses. So I'll show you that in a moment. So you've got 2. So you've got two modules and a resettable fuse here. So you can reset it by just pushing the middle in. Each auto trail has a unique build number, which is that sticker there. So if you need any parts, quote that number. But on the vehicle as well, you've also got your leisure battery, which is under here. And you've got two, you can see two fuses there in the holder. One's your main battery fuse, one is also your bed fuse. These are 20 amp fuses. What I personally would do is uprate the fuse to a 30 amp if it does blow, and you shouldn't have any problems, because we've had customers in the past that's put bedding on, and because the van's never had any bedding on, because it's come from the factory, it detects the weight on the bed that it's never had, and it blows the fuse. And if it just clicks, it's that fuse that's gone in near the leisure battery. Uprate that for a 30 amp fuse and you shouldn't have any problems from there on. So located just behind the passenger seat, this is your gas locker. This sticker here tells you all your fuses and your ratings of which fuse does which on your 12 volt, which are all here. So these are all your 12 volt fuses. So what I would do is carry some spare blade fuses with you, just in case one does blow. Doesn't need to spoil your holiday, you can just replenish the fuse. So you can get them from the likes of Halfords, Eurocar Parts, online, Amazon, eBay, anywhere. Just get a variety of fuses in a pack and keep them in the glove box somewhere handy. You've got a system shutdown button, and what the system shutdown button will do is it will isolate the supply of power from the leisure battery. So if you're parking it up in the winter and you don't want a power drain or the vehicle battery going flat, you can turn it off. But when you turn it off, your radio and your carb won't work. So if you're thinking about taking her out for a drive just to keep the tyres from cracking and getting flat spots in the winter, which we advise to do, and keeping all the batteries topped up and everything. If you think, why is my radio not working, why can't I not see the back of the van when reversing, if that's switched off, that'll be the reason why you can't have any power to your accent head unit. This side you do have your main trips, so you've got your 3 MCBs and 1 RCD. If for what reason you weren't receiving power, best way to check is A, check the microwave. If the microwave's still not on, you're not getting power, or come and trip the van. If the van trips, you've got power. If the van doesn't trip, you're not receiving power. So it's either the lead or where you're getting the power from. Charger, obviously this is just a fuse spur, so that just needs to be pushed in. The charger will charge the leisure battery from mains hookup, and the heating and hot water will work off mains power when this button is pushed in. Leave them pushed in, don't touch them. But if you ever got a fault on your Truma panel, and it was saying lack of 240 volt, try here just in case you've knocked it when you've been in. That would be the first port of call I would do, just to make sure that is on and you are receiving mains power. So in the washroom door also acts as the bedroom door if you've got people in the front bed, for a bit of privacy. To operate your toilet, press the blue button, which will give you a fresh water flush. Always put a small amount of water in the toilet before you use the toilet itself. And then before you use it, you want to get rid of the water. And the water, all that does is it lubricates the seal between the top of the cassette and the blade itself. This grey lever here on the ball of the toilet, you slide to the right, opens the blade. You can now use the toilet. Once you've used the toilet, give it a good flush. If you've bought the blue and the pink, obviously the blue or the green goes into the cassette itself, so you can do a cap full into the cassette. The pink has nowhere to go on this motorhome because it hasn't got a header tank. So the header tank is fed from the main freshwater tank on board the motorhome. It hasn't got a separate one like a caravan where you've got to fill a flush tank. But what you could do is get a spare spray bottle, dilute it, spray the bowl, flush, and then whenever you're finished, just close the blade back to the left so that when the cassette indicates it's full, which it will with 3 green lights underneath here, you can pull it straight out the side of the van and empty the cassette, rinse and replenish it with chemical. Toiletry cabinet, push the sink plug, and you've got some more toiletry space underneath. Across we do have your shower cubicle with hanging rail for wet towels, but if you're not planning on using the shower and you've booked a nice site and you want to use their facilities, because why not, you've paid for it, most sites now are lovely, you could use this to hang either wet coats if you've been caught out in the rain, or if you're going on a longer trip and you can't get all your bits and pieces in your wardrobe, put some hangers on here and utilise it as a additional wardrobe space. Make sure that you tie your shower screens back before travelling, just to stop them banging around and causing any damage. And because it's all plastic lined with this white gloss plastic finish, don't use any harsh chemicals to clean your shower out. So a microfiber cloth with some soapy dish soap, no thick bleach, nothing like that, or some light Dettol spray just to wipe it out. No harsh thick bleaches, because what it'll do is it'll take the finish off and it'll replace that with an orange, yellowy, cream looking stain, and it looks awful. When winterizing, just unscrew your shower head from your hose and lie your shower hose in the tray just to stop the water from freezing in this pipe, leaving all your mixer taps throughout the van in the open position. So lifting up your island bed on the Tracker RB, underneath in this corner here you have your Truma boiler. So your Truma boiler does 2 jobs. Provides the vehicle with 10 litres of hot water at a time and provides it with air-blown heating. In the winter months it's very important that you get rid of the water that's sitting in the boiler, because when not in use this water could freeze. And if it freezes, it can cause damage to the boiler, which is then a costly repair to make. And it isn't covered under Auto Trail's warranty. It's your responsibility to drain the vehicle down and protect it from what's known as frost damage. Damage caused by the frost. So 10 litres of water it stores in the boiler. Just down here you have a yellow toggle, which is your drain valve for your boiler, and as you can see there, it's on its side, so it's lying down. You need to flick this up so it stands up on end and points up to the ceiling of the vehicle. That will allow the 10 litres of water in the boiler to drain directly out underneath the van. There's a drain valve, which is just a pipe that hangs underneath the van, and it'll allow this water out. Leave it stood up open when you're not using it in the winter to avoid it from freezing, and then when you come to reuse it or you're taking it out for that odd winter weekend, lie it back down into position, fill the vehicle with water. Once you've filled it with water, turn your pump on, and you'll get a pressurized flow of water on the cold side straight away because it's being pumped from the tank. When you go to the hot, you'll get a lot of air, a lot of coughing, a lot of spluttering of the water through the tap. It's not broken, don't panic, it's just not got any water in the boiler, so it's priming itself. And when it's priming itself, it'll do this until you get a pressurised flow, because it's transferring the water from the freshwater tank underneath the van into here of 10 litres, and then it's ready to be used. But when you do winterize, lift this up, open the fresh and the waste outside the vehicle, open all the mixer taps throughout the van. So take your shower head off your shower hose and lie your hose in the shower tray, but leave the mixer tap of the shower open. Open your bathroom hand basin shower tap, not shower tap, hand basin tap, and your sink tap. Turn your pump on for 10 seconds and let it cough and splutter the rest of the water out. Don't let it run on any longer because you could burn the pump out, but you need to get whatever's left in the lines and in the filter of the pump out of the vehicle. So you need to turn it on for a split second, turn it off, and then leave the vehicle. It's winterized. When you come to reuse it, like I've said, you know how to do the boiler, you know how to pressurize it through the taps, so just wait on the hot side until you get a pressurized flow. Once you've done one tap, do them all, then your system's primed. But it's very important that you take the water out of the boiler in the winter before parking her up. So this can be any time from October to April when we're experiencing cold frost, to avoid damaging any parts on the vehicle. So in the cupboard above on this particular vehicle, if your vehicle is fitted with the Media Pack Plus, or you've had a MaxView satellite system fitted by ourselves, you'll get your MaxView satellite box here. To turn your satellite system on, you need to turn your power on. It'll start flashing there. You can select your different satellite here, but you always want it to be on Astro 2 in this country and into France. Once you start heading down into Spain and Portugal, you may have to change it. So when it's flashing, all you need to do is press satellite. But online, it'll tell you what number does which satellite. But once it stops flashing, what you'll need to do is put the satellite up. So to put the satellite up, all you need to do is there's a red button here. Press and hold till it starts flashing. Once it stops flashing and that goes to a solid light, the satellite has locked on, found the signal in the sky, and you can now turn your telly on and you should have a signal. So if your vehicle has come fitted with just the Media Pack, you'll just have a fixed TV aerial on the roof, which is from the company MaxView. This is your signal booster. So should you need to boost the signal, you can adjust the wheel, and it's an amplifier, so you can make the signal stronger. And if it's on max and you're still getting a pixelated picture, it may be interference, so you may just need to try and turn it down, and you should get the perfect picture. There's an on-off button for it just underneath here, so you can turn it off and on, but you don't really need to turn it on and off. It'll go off with the main 12-volt system, so when you kill the master switch on the vehicle, this will turn off anyway. So if you've opted for the option of the 4G Wi-Fi system, in the cupboard here you'll have a little Wi-Fi dongle. So what you need to do is you need to take the back off this. You've got your password at the bottom, which is all different on all different Hawaii boxes. You need to get a data only SIM card, which you can either get a pay-as-you-go one or you can get a pay monthly one. There's some great deals out there at the moment. You can get unlimited data for £20 a month. Pop the SIM in once you've activated it. Turn it on. Clip it to the magnet, which is on here, and make sure that the dock is turned on, so there'll be a little rocker switch further back. And you have your little red light underneath, which you can see. And there's an aerial on the roof, which is 10 times stronger than the aerial in your phone. So it should pick up a good enough 4G Wi-Fi system in all locations because of the aerial. Connect your devices to it. It'll tell you how many devices are connected to it. So when you go on the home screen there, it'll say 1, 2, 3. You can connect up to 10 devices to it. But you do need to have a data only SIM in this for it to work. And if it's a pay-as-you-go one and it's run out, obviously it'll not provide you with any data. But if you get a pay monthly one, you'll have data always on board for the likes of streaming on your telly if you're going to put a smart stick in, using Netflix, or just surfing the internet on your iPads.